It's Friday. It is raining. It is about 68 degrees here in Site B. I'm drinking soda because I have a headache, and sometimes soda helps. And other times it makes it worse. What do we do on Fridays, boys and girls? Well, we plan for the weekend. We pack up our cars for that weekend trip to wherever. Or if you're me, we take a look at the latest news regarding the I don't know why I'm talking like this, the post-January OGL OSR disaster. After the whole Wizards of the Coast OGL thing, many companies and many individuals said, well, screw you, Wizards of the Coast, I'm going to make my own game. Wah. We had the big boys like Paizo, all the way down to little teeny individuals who had nothing to go on other than a dream and a bit of gumption in their heart. Of course, I'm speaking of Kelsey Dion and Shadow Dark because, yeah, so far the only two winners out of the December-January OGL nonsense was Level Up 5e, Advanced from EN Publishing, and Kelsey Dion from the Arcane Library and her Shadow Dark, her multi-million-dollar tabletop role-playing game, the current winner of the OGL Wars. But there were others, and one of them was Kobold Press, who said they were going to make their own game, but then it turned out, no, what they were going to make is just their own version of 5e. So let's see what's going on with this. Well, they're taking pre-orders now for the Level Up 5e thing. The Kickstarter made them $1,151,914. They had 10,057 backers, and they were completely funded on 6/23/2023. So you can pre-order now the double pack for $129 plus shipping and handling. That concludes the brand new It's Not 5e, It's Tales from the Valiant Player's Handbook, and the brand new It's Not 5e, It's Tales from the Valiant Monster Vault, which contains, I guess, a smattering across the multiple monster titles that Kobold Press has made over the years, converted to the Tales for the Valiant system. Say what you will about these guys. They have pumped out some amazing monster books, and they've pumped out an amazing third-party campaign setting in Midgard. Some consider it one to be the best third-party campaign settings for 5e. Now, is Tales from the Valiant set in the Midgard world, or is it going to be set on a brand new world? I don't know. It doesn't say anywhere. I'm assuming, since they already have an established world that they can milk, why make a new one? Of course, they're going to claim it's system agnostic, so you could use it for your own home system. The only thing good that's coming out of Tales from the Valiant, other than it being a slightly more powerful version of 5e, is that it's 5e. I mean, some names have been changed, but it's basically 5e. And the only good thing about that is that if in 2024, Wizards of the Coast decides, you know what, I know we said we were going to make more 5e Players Handbooks available, but we're not, because we got this new one. And people are like, but I like the old one. This is probably the closest thing you're going to be able to get your hands on other than Level Up 5e to be able to continue to run 5e as we know it from 2014 to 2024. I tried to explain that in a video yesterday, but yeah, it doesn't make sense. So you can pre-order this now for $129, or you can get the alpha release for $10. That's a PDF, though, no physical copy. What's the alpha release? Well, the alpha release is the collection of every playtest they've published so far and the results of every playtest they've published so far in a semi-workable role-playing game. It's obviously not the full layout of what we will see in Tales from the Valiant next year, but it's, it's a test copy. It's the pilot. It's the pilot episode. So it gives us a chance to go, okay, I really like this, or wow, this is really dumb. Now, the problem with alpha releases is that between the time you pick this up and the time Tales of the Valiant actually hits the market next year, a lot of things could change because they're only 4 play tests deep into the book so far. So yeah, there's still a way to go. And, if D&D Next and 5th edition, or the Pathfinder 2 playtest and Pathfinder 2 actual publication, are any inclination of what we can expect the alpha test and the final product are going to be at least 60% different, if not more. I mean, if you want to use 5e as the example, D&D Next 3rd round playtest and D&D 5e Player's Handbook look completely different. They are literally 2 separate games. So, yeah. That's what's going on with Kobold Press. But they were not the only company that announced that they were going to be making a 5e answer for the OGL nonsense in January. Another company that said, oh, we're going to make our own was Crucible 7. And they have filed the copyright on the name C7D20. Other than that, nothing. Nothing. No news. No news. We know that in July, they announced they're doing some stuff with the Doctor Who role-playing game. And they made some money for charity. And they've got their Laundry role-playing game out, which also has a series of books set in that world. But as for what's going on with C7D20, oh, why there's nothing. No, nothing. Nothing new. So have they already just given up on this? They're just like, yeah, I don't know. Nothing in the blog, nothing new, no new information. The blog hasn't even been updated since July. So, yeah, nothing on the 7D20 Crucible 7 answer to the OGL problem. How about Matthew Kobold? Matthew Kobold. He said he was going to make his own game. But it looks like he hasn't updated his webpage since 2022. And the last thing he articled was his monster book. Because remember, kid, the top 5 rules of gaming is, when in doubt, make a monster book that's compatible with the game of choice, usually 5e or the OSR. I can't think of anything to do. Dude, we should do monsters. Is there any monsters that haven't been done? Well, all we have to do is take a monster that's been done and reskin it and give it a new name. See, like this? That's not a beholder. That's a Colville holder. Oh, yeah. Sure. Okay, we can do that. Yeah. So, when it. So yeah, it looks like, yeah, nothing new. What about Green Ronin and their mystery game that they announced way back in the beginning of the summer? Nothing. They haven't updated their page since July, and all they're talking about is the fact that the new Fantasy Age is out. We know that they are working on a mysterious new game that isn't D20, that isn't Age system, that isn't Mutants and Masterminds, that has no connection to any other game that you currently see them working on, but it is familiar to them to a game they've worked on in the past, which means, I guess, maybe Savage Worlds. So they're working on a mysterious science fantasy pulp type game. Apparently they've been working on it for a while. They just haven't told anybody. But as regards to their response to the Level Up 5e OGL nonsense of January, Fantasy Age 2nd Edition is their closest. Okay, which I guess leaves the big one. Darrington Press. Daggerheart. Do we have any new news on Daggerheart? And the answer is no. No, we don't. We haven't been updated this page since July 31st. The only information we have on Daggerheart is the CBR article. We've already gone through it. We have a general idea of the system. There's a lot of stuff in the system I like. I think it uses too many dice for the combat half. Just pick like 1 or 2 different dice, D6, D12s for your weapons and damage and stuff like that. The cards are going to be problematic because people are going to lose them. But I like the fact that death matters, and I like the death rules. So we are all hoping, I think, that this is the campaign source book for Campaign 4 when it starts sometime next year. And then we'll use Campaign 4 to educate and entertain and push this, Daggerheart forward. And they'll use Daggerheart to be the core engine for Campaign 4. Fingers crossed. Daggerheart is such a mystery that the only people that we know of that have gotten to see it so far was Comic Book Resources. of all people. Why them? That makes no sense to me. Why, Darrington Press, would you let them be the one company that gets to see Daggerheart in play? Why not Bell of Lost Souls or Polyhedron or people who are, YouTubers who are actually gamers? I mean, Gini D is going, I know nothing about it. And I'm like, dude, you don't know anything about it? You're Gini D. And she's like, yeah, I know. So, yeah, they're keeping it so secret. Even Gini D doesn't know. But I think Gini D is kind of on the outs, maybe, because of the whole, she took a stance during the January OGL thing, and they didn't. So who knows? There are some people out there who still think Critical Role is going to go back to Wizards and be the lantern carriers for 2024 D&D. There's most of us are like, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. And from a business point of view, that makes no sense for them to continue to be under the yoke of Wizards of the Coast, especially with the bad press associated with Wizards of the Coast. Their best bet, since they already have that Amazon deal, is just to focus on self-publishing their product and then let Amazon carrying the heavyweight. Because the only thing Hasbro can offer them right now that nobody else can offer them is toys. That's it. The official Critical Role, Mighty Nine, Bell's Hells action figure line made by Hasbro is the only thing Hasbro can offer them that the other companies aren't already offering them. They don't need Hasbro. They don't need Wizards of the Coast. They don't need D&D 5e. Their fan base will follow Campaign 4 no matter what system they choose. So, yeah, as long as they're playing fantasy, as long as it's the characters we know and love, as long as it's in Xandria, Tal'Dorei, wherever, people will watch them play it using any system. As for Illuminated Worlds, it kind of feels like they've already given up on that one, but who knows? We'll see. That's it. I guess that only leaves Wizards of the Coast news, but that takes so much time and energy that it's got to be a whole separate vlog. Because Wizards of the Coast can't leave well enough alone, can they? Nope. Nope. But that is it for the OGL survivors and the OGL war. In that we really don't have any new news from any of the companies. Valiant, Tales from the Valiant, kind of moving forward with, but really still more of a mystery until we see more of the playtest. C7D20 doesn't exist. Matt Colville's D20 doesn't exist. Green Ronin's solution doesn't exist. Level Up 5e Advanced still out there, still publishing, making them the only one who really came out of this thing ahead other than Kelsey Dion, which I guess is giving Kelsey Dion some free heat for you to just go buy Shadow Dark if you can find a copy of it. Because, yeah, she's really the only winner of the January OGL Wars. I'm the OGM. If you appreciate the mouth that's coming out of my mouth, blah, 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 blah. I'll talk to you later. You know what I just said, right?